Have you ever had that feeling, that strange, disorienting moment where you look at someone, maybe someone you know well, and in their eyes you see a reflection of a person you simply don't recognize? They describe you as angry, or selfish, or manipulative. They speak with such conviction, painting a portrait of you that feels alien, a caricature. It's like they're seeing a monster, and they're telling you that monster is you. The words sting not just because they're unkind, but because they feel so profoundly untrue. It can shake you to your core, making you question your own perception, your own character, even your own sanity. If you've ever felt this, if you've ever felt lost in the fog of someone else's distorted view of you, I want you to know you are not alone in that feeling, and there is a way to find solid ground again. The great explorer of the inner world, Carl Jung, gave us a concept that is like a lamp in these dark and confusing moments. He called it projection. And understanding it isn't just an intellectual exercise. It can be a profound act of self-care and liberation. So what is projection in the simplest of terms? Imagine that each person carries around with them an old movie projector. And on the reels of that projector are all of their own stories, their hidden fears, their unhealed wounds, their secret insecurities, the parts of themselves they have pushed away into the darkness. Jung called this collection of hidden parts our shadow. It's not necessarily evil, but it's the part of us we haven't yet come to terms with. Most of the time, people are unaware they're even carrying this projector. And then, in a moment of stress or conflict, they unconsciously switch it on. They point it at you, and they begin playing their inner movie right onto the screen of your being. They aren't seeing you anymore. They are seeing their own fear. They are seeing their own disowned anger. They are seeing their own unresolved pain. The monster they see is a character from their own inner film, and you've just become the unwilling screen. It's crucial to understand this. Projection is almost always an unconscious process. The person doing it truly believes what they are seeing. Their reality feels completely real to them. This is why arguing with the projection is like trying to argue with a movie. You can shout at the screen all you want, but the film will just keep playing. Why does it hurt so much to be on the receiving end? It hurts because one of our deepest human needs is to be seen and acknowledged for who we really are. It's a form of love, of connection. When someone projects onto you, they're placing a thick, distorted lens between you and them. They are, in that moment, refusing to see the real you. And that can feel like a deep betrayal, a profound loneliness. It can make us doubt the very essence of who we believe ourselves to be. So how can we learn to recognize when this is happening? How can we tell the difference between valid criticism we might need to hear and a projection we need to protect ourselves from? There are a few gentle signs to look for. First, notice the emotional intensity. Does the reaction feel completely out of proportion to what actually happened? A minor disagreement that erupts into a furious accusation of betrayal, for example. If the emotional volume is turned up to 100 when the situation was maybe a 2, that's a powerful clue that something else is going on beneath the surface. Another person's movie has started to play. Second, does the accusation feel utterly bizarre to you? Does it seem to come out of left field, having little to no connection to the facts of the situation or to how you know yourself to be? If you're left with a feeling of sheer bewilderment, thinking, where on earth did that come from? It's very likely you're looking at a projection. And third, look for patterns. Does this person seem to find the same fatal flaw, be it selfishness, dishonesty, or anger, in many different people they encounter? If they are constantly seeing the same monster everywhere they look, it's a strong sign that the monster actually lives inside their own projector. Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." What he means, in part, is that these incredibly strong negative reactions are often signposts. When someone is intensely irritated by a supposed flaw in you, they are often bumping into a disowned part of their own soul. Their reaction is a map to their own inner world, not a true map of yours. So when you find yourself in this situation, standing in the harsh glare of someone else's projector, how can you navigate it with grace? The first and most important step is to pause. Don't react immediately. The impulse is to defend, to argue, to try and rip the false image of you to shreds. But this often just feeds the drama and pulls you deeper into their film. Instead, take a deep breath. Create a small, sacred space of silence for yourself. This pause is your power. It's where you stop being a reactor and start being a conscious actor in your own life. The second step is to consciously hold on to your own truth. Gently and quietly remind yourself of who you know you are. This isn't about being perfect or arrogant. It's about having a firm inner anchor. You can say to yourself, I hear their story about me, but it is not my story. I know my intentions. I know my heart. You do not have to accept their narrative as your reality. The third step is a subtle but transformative shift in perspective. Consider the source with a sense of compassion. This does not mean you excuse hurtful behavior, not at all. It means you depersonalize the attack. You recognize that the poison they are trying to hand you is actually their own. Their words are not a verdict on your character, they are a confession of their own suffering. Seeing this can release you from the hook of their judgment. Their monster is their burden to carry, not yours. And finally, you get to choose your response. Sometimes the wisest and most compassionate act for yourself and for them is to not engage at all, to simply create distance. At other times, a simple, firm boundary is needed. You can say, I understand that's how you see it, but I have a very different perspective. Or, I'm not willing to be spoken to in that way. You are not arguing with their reality. You are simply stating your own and protecting your space. Navigating the projections of others is one of the most challenging parts of the human journey. It requires us to be both strong and soft, both clear in our boundaries and open in our hearts. But every time you refuse to internalize a false story, every time you choose to hold on to your own truth with quiet dignity, you are strengthening the core of who you are. You are tending to your own inner light, refusing to let it be dimmed by someone else's shadow. Their monster is not your monster. Remember that. I'm curious, and if you feel comfortable sharing, has there been a time you felt profoundly misunderstood? How did you find your way back to your own truth? Your stories are a gift to us all, and I would be so honored to read them in the comments below. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for being on this journey of inner exploration. It's not always easy, but it is always worthwhile. Be kind to your own heart. May your journey inward bring you peace. Until we meet again.